to this videos? If we make 5,000 likes to this video, we will upload more patriotic news. Thank you. Right after Blumenthal attacked Trump, Trump gave him the ultimate karma. President Trump accused Senator Richard Blumenthal, D. Connecticut, this morning of lying about his military service. Then he hit him even harder this afternoon. I think Senator Blumenthal should take a nice long vacation in Vietnam, where he lied about his service, so he can at least say he was there, Trump tweeted. Trump is freaking brutal. Trump is speaking about the fact that Sen. Blumenthal admitted that he didn't serve during the Vietnam War. He was only a reservist. Here is the interview that caused Trump to resist on Twitter. This morning, Trump accused Blumenthal of being a phony Vietnam con artist. This attack came after Blumenthal whined to CNN that he was concerned that the Department of Justice is weaponizing laws after they threatened to crack down on leaks. Blumenthal said this to Trump this morning. Blumenthal fired back after the first tweet, writing, "Mr. President, your bullying hasn't worked before and it won't work now. No one is above the law. Share this if you think Trump is a hero for taking on the swamp. They are fighting back, but we the people will not let down. Do you still have his back?" Time to go home. Mitch McConnell doesn't want this interview getting out, it'll ruin him. Senator Mitch McConnell gave a speech at a Rotary Club meeting in Kentucky on Monday where he tried to explain away the legislative Republicans' failures to repeal and replace Obamacare, something they had been promising for 7 years. McConnell's excuse was as pathetic as you would expect. It wasn't the Republicans who failed, it was President Trump for having excessive expectations. In fact, McConnell even said he finds Republican criticism of his failure extremely irritating. Here is Mitch McConnell's lame speech after failing to pass Obamacare repeal. His statement reads in full, "I'd ask for a show of hands, but I know everybody's saying, 'Been there, haven't done anything,' which I find extremely irritating, and I'm going to tell you why. Congress goes on for 2 years. Part of the reason I think that the storyline is that we haven't done much is because, in part, the president and others have set these early timelines about things need to be done by a certain point." He continues, "Our new president, of course, has not been in this line of work before, and I think had excessive expectations about how quickly things happen in the democratic process." What? Since when do you blame someone else when you can't deliver? McConnell is being absolutely ridiculous, and he just proves exactly why we need President Trump. Our president is a businessman. He doesn't like to waste time and money, and he wants to serve the American people. The old way, McConnell's way of doing things, making promises, waiting around, accomplishing nothing, is precisely why we the people hired President Trump to shake things up. The American people have high expectations, and the president wants to fulfill them. McConnell can either accept that or step aside. Either way, it seems that now he understands that the status quo is no good anymore. Share if you're tired of establishment politicians and their lame excuses. These people need start working again. H/T The Washington Times. Carnage. Hannity just ripped apart Mitch McConnell and this rant going viral. Who out there is sick and tired of Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell? He continuously disrespects our president, the man we, the people, elected to lead our great country. Well, we aren't the only ones. Sean Hannity has proven his loyalty to President Trump time and again. See how he's continuously shown his loyalty. Tuesday, Hannity exhibited his full support again. He had just said he intended to stop all petty political disagreements for 12 hours due to the seriousness of the North Korea situation. He invited others to do the same. He wasn't able to make it the full 12 hours, though. And who can blame him? According to ABC News, McConnell had just said it was extremely irritating that Congress has the reputation of not accomplishing anything. And he blamed it on Trump. Seriously, y'all? So Hannity blew his cool, tweeting, "Well, I couldn't have said it better myself." The gall of Senator McConnell, blaming President Trump for Congress failures. It's really pretty disgusting. He actually whined that Trump had excessive expectations for Congress. What? How dare anyone expect that they actually get something done? Wow. Just wow. If you agree with Hannity and think that it's time for McConnell, and others like him, need to go, comment, vote them out and share. H/T. Later loser Mitch McConnell just said one thing about Trump that will end his career. It really just blows my mind sometimes, y'all. You think there is nothing else that Mitch McConnell could do to embarrass himself at this point? Not during a break and after the Obamacare repeal disaster. Wrong. McConnell decided to give a speech to a bunch of Kentucky donors where he revealed how he thinks it's actually Trump's fault he failed in Congress. McConnell blamed the Obamacare failure on Trump expecting Congress to do too much work. Mitch McConnell told the crowd of donors at the Florence Rotary Club in Kentucky, "Now our new president has, of course, not been in this line of work before, and I think has excessive expectations about how quickly things happen in the democratic process. And so, part of the reason I think people feel like we're underperforming is because too many artificial deadlines unrelated to the reality and the complexity of legislature may not have been fully understood. And so what I'm asking of you is to judge this Congress when it finishes. And so, part of the reason I think people feel like we're underperforming is because too many artificial deadlines unrelated to the reality and the complexity of legislature may not have been fully understood. And so what I'm asking of you is to judge this Congress when it finishes. Hey, I'm gonna do Mitch McConnell a big favor right here. Let me tell Congress why people feel like you all are underperforming. Congress has been so clogged up and ineffective for decades now that America has lost all faith in it as a governing body. That's what really happened. Look, maybe it's time for Mitch to go. What do you all think? He had a good run. But there's gotta be someone out there who won't try and claim a big loss is actually a win, but nobody notices it because they are all being too critical. Huge win. Sarah Huckabee just proved New York Times lies in most epic way imaginable. The New York Times thought they were such big dollar hit yesterday when they leaked a climate report that allegedly proves humans cause global warming. According to them, scientists were worried Trump would hide their report. There was one big problem with their BS claims. Enter Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Yesterday, she smashed the lying New York Times claims about their leaked report by revealing the one thing they didn't want anyone to see. Sarah Huckabee revealed the article leaked to the New York Times was actually a publicly available draft. Huckabee told a gaggle of White House reporters on Tuesday afternoon, "It's very disappointing, yet entirely predictable to learn the New York Times would write off a draft report without first verifying its contents with the White House or any of the federal agencies directly involved with climate and environmental policy." As others have pointed out, and the New York Times should have noticed, drafts of this report have been published and made widely available online months ago during the public comment period. The White House will withhold comment on any draft report before its scheduled release date. Damn Sarah. You go get him. The White House is not gonna even comment until after the official release date for the report. So, not only was the leaked document something anyone could have accessed publicly, but it was not even finished. Oh, and to make it even better, one of the people who worked on the report tweeted out, "See what I mean?" So, there you have it. The New York Times was so intent on being heroes instead of journalists that they published a document claiming it was leaked from 13 federal agency scientists and didn't even bother to confirm. Sad. Do you think these journalists have abused their First Amendment rights? Comment your answer and share this out with everyone. When Trump just went to speak on opiate epidemic, Melania did the incredible. President Trump held a meeting in New Jersey Tuesday to address the nation's growing opiate crisis. President Trump outlined the crisis in no uncertain terms, saying at one point, "It is a problem the likes of which we have not seen. The opiate epidemic is ravaging the nation and people continue to die and have their lives ruined. President Trump is no stranger to addiction. His older brother died at the age of 43 after struggling with alcoholism. Throughout all of this, First Lady Melania Trump was at the president's side. Melania tweeted that she would be at the event earlier that day. Melania then launched the #Stop Drug Addiction headline. This is a big step for Melania, who normally shies away from policy debates. The move is reminiscent of Nancy Reagan, who publicly advocated the Just Say No campaign meant to combat the crack epidemic. Melania was next to her husband throughout the meeting, providing him support the entire time. President Trump gave a great talk about this serious issue. Check out this short clip here. Throughout the speech, the president made one thing abundantly clear: we will fight this deadly epidemic and the United States will win. This drug crisis is tough and has so far ruined countless lives. President Trump is tough too, though. If anyone can put the brakes on this awful epidemic, it's him, and it's great to see Melania will be fighting right alongside him. H/T Daily Mail. Sarah Sanders' perfect response to faith-shaming journalist will leave every Christian in tears. Sarah Huckabee Sanders is famous for sticking up for President Trump against the media during her daily press briefings. She's known for her spunk, wit, and composure as she fields difficult questions from a host of journalists. Fewer people know that before each briefing she reads a devotion and says a prayer. Her faith is important to her, and this should not be too surprising, as Sanders' father, Mike Huckabee, was a pastor. This was news to the New York Times, however, which ran this curious headline: "The New York Times evidently could not understand her faith and hinted at some hypocrisy on her part, saying Sanders is an unlikely public face for Minister Trump, a twice-divorced connoisseur of grievance." Sanders, of course, had a perfect reply: "I certainly didn't approve of a couple of Trump's comments. But at the same time, we were looking for a commander-in-chief, not a pastor." She continued, "Oftentimes, people want to make politicians perfect. And that's one of the actual beauties of Christianity, is understanding that no one is. Yes. It is so great to have a woman with so much grace serving the White House." President Trump is by no means a perfect man who is ? But by no means does that disqualify him or those who serve him from being Christians. Sarah Huckabee Sanders again showed class and tact against media skepticism. Share if you love having her as President Trump's press secretary. H/T New York Times.